They say some people are born to live their entire lives in the spotlight, to shine, to endure, to let the world in on their victories and their failures. But what happens when the spotlight, instead of celebrating your strength, begins to expose the very fragility you've been fighting to keep hidden? For Sharon Osbourne, that question is no longer hypothetical. It's her reality. A woman who has stood tall through scandal, through illness, through heartbreak, and through the relentless chaos of fame is now facing a battle unlike any she's endured before. And the latest updates about her health are not only heartbreaking, they're deeply alarming. For decades, Sharon wasn't just the woman behind one of rock's most infamous figures, Ozzy Osbourne. She became a cultural force of her own, fierce, unapologetic, sharp-witted. She could silence a room with a single remark, whether it was as a judge on The X Factor, a host on The Talk, or sitting beside Ozzy as cameras followed their family and the Osbournes. The reality TV show that changed the landscape of entertainment forever. She was a fighter, a survivor, a matriarch whose resilience seemed almost mythic. But today, that very resilience is being tested in a way fans, family, and even Sharon herself fear may be impossible to overcome. Reports confirm what many have quietly whispered for months. Sharon's health has taken a dramatic turn for the worse. Once known for her commanding energy, quick wit, and sharp presence, she now appears visibly frail. Her once confident movements have slowed. Her voice, always so steady and biting, sometimes falters. To those who grew up watching her fiery television persona, the transformation is nothing short of staggering. Behind the scenes, those closest to her admit, this isn't just exhaustion. This isn't a minor setback. This is something far more serious. The incident that reignited concern happened without warning. While filming in California, Sharon reportedly collapsed on set. Witnesses described chaos, crew members rushing to her side, people shouting for help, and a silence that seemed to hang in the air before paramedics arrived. Official statements were vague, calling it only a medical emergency. But fans who know Sharon's history couldn't dismiss it. This wasn't another fainting spell. This was something else, something worse. Doctors who reviewed her medical history say the risks are frightening. Colon cancer survivors, especially those who underwent aggressive treatment, often face secondary complications decades later. Preventive surgeries, unlike Sharon's double mastectomy, leave their own scars. Add years of fainting episodes, exhaustion, depression, and the natural weight of aging, and the picture that emerges is one of a body that has already endured more than most could bear. And now, every new emergency could be the one that changes everything. What makes Sharon's story even more complex is that her life has never belonged only to her. Sharon Osbourne isn't just a celebrity. She's a brand, a business, a cultural icon. Every moment of triumph and tragedy in her life has been broadcast, dissected, judged, and mythologized in a way very few people can understand. She turned her cancer battle into a public fight, sharing her chemotherapy and surgeries openly. She revealed her decision to undergo preventive surgery in front of millions. She never shied away from discussing Ozzy's addictions, their marital struggles, or her own mental health. Sharon's power has always come from transparency, from a willingness to let the world see it all. But now silence has replaced her openness, and fans can't help but wonder, is the truth simply too grim to share? Observers point out that Sharon, once known for confronting rumors head-on, now chooses to say nothing. In the past, she would dismiss false reports or deliver biting clarifications herself. Today, only silence, and that silence feels louder and scarier than words ever could. Through it all, Sharon has carried not only her own battles, but the weight of her entire family. She has been the one to hold together the fragile threads of the Osbournes through chaos, addiction, and illness. When Ozzy spiraled with drugs and alcohol, Sharon was the one who dragged him back. When he was diagnosed with Parkinson's, Sharon became his advocate, his strength. When her children struggled with fame, with substance abuse, and with finding their own place in the shadow of their parents, Sharon was always the anchor. But anchors can sink too. And now the weight she has carried for so long may finally be too much. Her family is devastated. Ozzy, who has leaned on Sharon for decades, reportedly described her as my rock, my reason for survival. But now the man once called the Prince of Darkness is watching the one person who gave him light begin to fade. Their children, who relied on her unshakable strength, now face the terrifying reality of seeing their mother fragile. For a family that was once portrayed as dysfunctional yet indestructible, this moment is uncharted and unbearably painful. Medical specialists warn that Sharon's history makes every complication more dangerous. Recovery times are longer, surgeries are riskier, even minor illnesses can spiral into major threats. And as one expert bluntly put it, for someone with her medical history, every emergency could be the one that changes everything. This isn't just about her past cancer. It's about years of stress, public exposure, and personal battles that have compounded. Every sacrifice, every sleepless night, every confrontation on stage or screen, they all add up. And in Sharon's case, the bill is finally coming due. Fans are reacting with a mixture of grief and love. Social media is flooded with prayers, tributes, and words of support. But beneath those messages, an unspoken dread lingers. People aren't just worried about Sharon. They're bracing themselves for the possibility that this time she may not bounce back. And Sharon herself knows it. Those who've spoken with her privately reveal that she has begun acknowledging her reality. She's admitted that her body cannot do what it once did, that tasks which were once effortless now leave her exhausted, that the strength she once projected to the world is slipping. For a woman who built her entire life on resilience, this admission may be the hardest battle of all. So what happens now? What does this mean for Sharon's legacy? For decades, she has represented resilience. She was the woman who stared down cancer in front of the world, the woman who turned a chaotic marriage into a global empire, the woman who reinvented herself in one of the toughest industries on earth. But today, her story isn't about reinvention. It's about endurance. It's about fragility. It's about showing the world that even the strongest fighters eventually face a battle they cannot win with sharp words or sheer willpower. And maybe that's the legacy Sharon Osbourne will leave behind. Not just strength, but honesty in the face of decline. Not just resilience, but humanity. The updates are grim. The future is uncertain. Sharon Osbourne, the woman who once felt indestructible, is fragile. And for the first time in her life, the silence around her speaks volumes. The world is waiting. Fans are holding their breath. Loved ones are clinging to hope. Because if Sharon taught us anything, it's that even when the odds are impossible, she always finds a way to fight. But this time, the fight feels different. This time, the fight may be her last.